My trachea felt like it was collapsing in on itself. Olivia, the well-pressed girl who made all A's and was the captain of the school golf team, who spoke endlessly about going to engineering camp at the University of Michigan last summer. Had she hurt herself? If so, how could I have missed the signs? Had someone else hurt her? The school held a moment of silence for Olivia during the first class period. Tears spilled out of my eyes as I remembered the girl fondly and grieved her untimely death. I thought of Caroline. I thought of my other students, most of whom continued to furiously tally away during the moment of silence. My train of thought was interrupted by a loud crash. I looked up, startled. Then a girl screamed. One of my students, a boy named Elliot, lay on the floor with his stool overturned on the ground. Torrential blood spilled out of his mouth. His eyes were frozen wide open in a snapshot of glazed terror. My hand flew to my mouth. "Call 911!" I sputtered to Amanda, the only student who wasn't still absorbed in their tallying. She was the girl who had screamed. She pulled out her phone to call 911 and her arm bumped her tallying notebook, sending it flying off the table. It landed in the pool of Elliot's blood. I knelt down on the other side of Elliot and felt for a pulse, checked for breath. He had neither. At least blood had stopped pouring out of his mouth and was now beginning to dry on his chin. I began administering CPR, counting compressions. When I placed my mouth upon his to administer breaths, I could taste the metallic tang of his blood. In the background, I heard Amanda shrieking to the emergency dispatcher on the phone and gesturing wildly. Then she stopped talking, and a millisecond later I heard a crack. Amanda was also on the floor now, blood pouring from both her mouth and her head. It was then I screamed at the top of my lungs, a distant primal sound I didn't even recognize as my own. By then, other teachers had run into the classroom. "CPR!" I shouted. "She needs CPR. He needs CPR. Oh my God." Mr. Mahoney and Mrs. Rogers performed CPR on the students, switching off with Mrs. Jankowitz and Miss Elmont when they grew too tired. Soon, EMS arrived and took over. In the midst of all the chaos, I didn't realize that none of my other students had looked up. Their heads were still buried in their notebooks. "What is going on?" I screamed at them after EMS carted Elliot and Amanda away. "Why can't you take your eyes off of your goddamn notebooks?" No one answered. Then I heard another crash and a scream, this time in a different classroom. Then another, then another. Sirens wailed outside of the school. EMS swarmed the hallways, pushing stretchers full of dead and dying students. Blood painted the floors of hallways and classrooms. In the pandemonium, the principal had managed to send out an emergency email for parents to pick up students immediately. Any student whose parents did not arrive within 15 minutes was loaded onto a bus and driven home. Kids ran out of the school, sobbing, still writing in their notebooks. After the school was empty of children, the teachers were dismissed as well. The superintendent had sent out an email to the entire district calling off school for the rest of the week. When I arrived home, Caroline was already there, sitting at the kitchen table. She'd been dropped off by bus, despite the fact that her car was at the school. In front of her lay an open notebook. The notebook was filled with vertical lines. I sat down slowly, afraid to speak. Caroline continued tallying. "Baby," I finally said, my voice just a whisper. "Please, for the love of God, tell me what's going on." She looked at me as if she was seeing me for the first time. There was a strangeness in her eyes, a mix of horror and sadness. Then she put down her pen, picked up her phone, and texted something. My own phone buzzed. Caroline immediately began tallying again. "Look at your phone," she said sadly. "No," I said. "Please look at it," she said. "For my sake, look at it." I pulled out my phone. There was an unread message from Caroline. She said, "Look at the picture. Every time you think of it, write down a tally mark. Look at it and pass it on, Mom. It's the only way. They'll never stop. And never," she said, "never, ever delete it." At that moment, my husband appeared at the front door. I had forgotten I'd asked him to come home early. Caroline looked up at him, picked up her phone, and sent a text. My husband's phone buzzed as he came into the kitchen. "Are you okay, loves?" he asked me and Caroline. "What's this, baby? You have to text your old man while you're in the room with him now?" Then he looked at his phone, took a deep breath, and dug into his briefcase.